In our rush to get done for Daytona, I ended up doing a bunch of things that I didn't film because I was running out of time and I was kind of in a hurry. And I wanted to just give an update on all of that because we have a car show coming up. And I thought, what better thing to bring than this? As you know, I love car shows because, especially for a Y block like this, I'm hoping to meet some people who have leftover parts. And one of the best ways to do that is bringing it to a car show. And you'll also meet people who know all kinds of stuff. And I don't know a ton about it, so the best place to learn, car show, let's do it. So now that it's ready for a car show, because I got the last thing done the other day, I want to show you what that is. I want to show you what everything is, and that way we can kind of finish this saga up and get doing some adventures with this bad boy, because this thing has some work to do and we got to work it. So yeah, let's do this and come check it out. So the first thing under the hood we should talk about is the carburetor situation. Let's get the nice bright shiny thing out of the way. So that Holley, I couldn't get it to not leak, and I'm not a good enough carburetor rebuilder for Holleys to make that happen. So I went down to the local store and I brought this edelbrock, and it's an edelbrock 600 performer or whatever. Since I'm not doing anything too crazy performance wise, the edelbrock does a good job. You know, I've used them in the past and they just, you know, they're a good average carb. And that way we can, you know, just get this thing on the road and do what it needs to do instead of me, you know, screwing around trying to get good at rebuilding Holleys. I don't got time for that. So we did that, and that is important for this build anyway, because that was a big sticking point for the road trip. So we got that on there, and obviously that runs pretty well out of the box like they're designed to. The engine wise, we took, you know, the valve covers off to make sure everything was oiling correctly, and it is oiling correctly. These Y blocks had a reputation, as everyone knows, for not oiling correctly, but that was kind of due to the time. You know, they just didn't have the high quality oils we do now, and trying to get people to do oil changes back then was even harder than now, apparently, so I've learned. So with regular oil changes and modern oils, oiling shouldn't be an issue. Now I threw Rotelli in there and a new filter on there anyway, but that's about all I did engine component wise. I adjusted a couple valves, but as it sat for probably its whole life, is still how it is, so we're going to keep running it like that. Updated all the ignition. They put the new fuel pump on it when we bought it, and all the cooling parts. So new water pump, new belt, you know, new thermostat, all the pipes, new crossover pipes, new heater hoses, and the heater you know, I kind of flushed everything out, and it flushed well, and the heater works, which is really cool. I did some wiring under here. Some things needed straightened up. There was a couple melted wires that from someone probably just trying to crank it over too long, that ran to the starter solenoid from the ignition, so I replaced those. Lubed everything down under here, but yeah, for the most part it's how she was her whole life. So, oh, and most importantly, a new radiator cap. Up front, new headlights, new lamps, got everything working up here. Only one headlight worked, but I just went and bought 2 headlights anyway. Got this working. Someone had just like, if you pull on this real hard, it sticks open for some reason, and you could tell someone was trying to pull the truck up a hill or something, and it just got stuck open. So I took it apart, unlatched it, undid everything, and everything works there. Each wheel, I took each wheel off, took the brake drum off, repacked the bearings, greased everything under there. There's grease zerks everywhere under this thing. Each strut has 4. The kingpin has 2. The ball joints have 1. I have new ball joints I haven't installed yet because these ones, they're not great, but they're fine. But I want to do new kingpins because you do have to saw at the wheel a little bit to keep it straight down the road. But and the kingpins have a little play. So let's do new kingpins, and let's do and I have the new ball joints to put in there for the situations under there at a later date. But let's get that done. That's easy and fun because I've never done kingpins and I want to try. Installed the running boards. Nothing too crazy on the inside. Had to straighten up a bunch of the wiring underneath there. So we straightened up a bunch of the wiring, and I was getting a drain. There was a ground somewhere, and I chased it to the wire that ran from the blinker or from the turn signal, all this stuff, to the rear. Fixed that, but I still couldn't get the brake lights to work. And every time I'd hit the brake light, the fuse would blow. Every time I'd hit the brake, the fuse would blow. And so I chased all that, and I found out that it was the turn signal switch. So by bypassing the turn signal switch, stopped blowing fuses. Now the brake lights work. Everything works except for turn signals, which no one in California uses them anyway, and you can use your hands. So for right now, that's the way it's going to be. I just need to get a new switch and wire it in, but again, I'll probably do that with the ball joints. It's not main priority right now. Got the horn working. That is the only original wire in the entire truck, is the lead for the horn. Now it's mostly still cloth wrapped. It's falling off, and at one point we're going to be driving and this horn's going to go off and it's not going to stop, and we're going to have to unplug it. But until then, I'm going to keep rocking that original wire. But yeah, that's the last one under there. Got all of the switches working, all the lights working, the dash lights come on, all the gauges work, installed an RPM tachometer just so I could do the things, and don't worry, it works. The needle just sticks when you first turn it on. It goes back to 0 like it's supposed to. It resets. Picked that up on Facebook Marketplace, and the cool part about it is I had to take it apart because it was on a sandrail, and it was for a 4-cylinder, and they cut the 2 wires that you're supposed to get it run for 4-cylinder. So I soldered them back together, but the maker's date on there is 99, so I thought that was pretty cool. So got kind of an older RPM gauge, which made me happy anyway. All the windows roll up and down now. Got all those working. These are working. They all just need lubed. The speedometer cable still needs a little love, but I found all the pieces. I found all these. I found the rear view mirror in the box of stuff. And then now to the part that was kind of hard. I'll show you. So down here, there's this bracket here. So when I replaced all the brake stuff, this bracket wouldn't line up, and it wasn't even close. And the original U thing was all bent. So I was like, damn. So And that's what kept us from going all the way to, well, that wasn't it, but this was one of the things that kept us from going all the way to Daytona with it. But so I have my local guy, his name's Wiley. He's a really good welder and a fabricator, and we took this bracket and fixed it and welded it and got it to the place where it would work. So, so that piece is good to go now. And remind me to get rid of this hose. We don't need this anymore. That went to the brake booster, which we're not using anymore. So I got to cap that off, and maybe it'll run better. That hose isn't the greatest shape. The only piece I need down here is that emergency brake. So I have the emergency brakes right now hooked up to the rear wheels because it's a Dana 60 rear end. So I just hooked up that with some homemade brackets, wink wink. But I would like to get that original one hooked up again. I think it's really cool. So once I find that, I will we'll do that. But now we got to do the fun part and go underneath the truck. It's a little dark under here, but let's get the C in here. So one of the things I had to do is the exhaust system interfered with the new brake booster. So what I did is, you'll notice with this one here, this exhaust, how it comes right from underneath the frame there and bends and comes straight back. Well, I did this side, I cut it down there, turned it around, and cut it down there, turned it around, and it dodged the brake master cylinder stuff pretty well. That proportioning valve still sticks a little low. So I'm gonna have, the exhaust ran a little differently. We'll get some new exhaust under here, but the master cylinder works really good. And we ran all new brake lines, new cylinders in all the wheels. Yeah. So all the important stuff. There's my emergency brake. So all the important stuff is working under here. I didn't replace the line on the rear end here because it looks pretty good. And I based it solely on that, so there's that. And back here, just redid, the new light bulbs, redid some wiring back here. When I was chasing the ground, I clipped the wire to the trailer hitch, and that wasn't it, so I got to put that back together, but I'm not in a big hurry. This is venting my gas tank correctly right now, so I'm going to leave that, and this gas tank is 10 gallons, but I'm going to leave that for right now because I'm not going cross country, so what's the point of that thing? And I'm going to get some new boards. These, they're kind of ugly, but they're still strong, so I only need to get a few more to replace that. But other than that, she's running pretty good. I have to do a little bit more tuning up. The engine isn't perfectly smooth, and so I'm gonna work the points a little bit, adjust the carb a little bit. It's idling a little high too. Get all that adjusted, straighten up the wiring, get the blinkers working, get the bed on there. But right now, what I need to do is get the passenger seat in. So I'm gonna get the passenger seat in, probably give it the points tomorrow, and probably adjust the points tomorrow, and then let's take it out and let's go do some work with it. Let's go pick up something. Let's put something in the back of it. Okay. So before it gets too dark, let's get the passenger seat in. One more thing. I'm gonna call this segment middle-aged man lessons. things that I've learned as a middle-aged man. So I've been, growing up in Colorado, Wyoming, being around agricultural and stuff. I've had flatbed trucks my whole life. Wait a minute. I've been around flatbed trucks my whole life. Someone's always had a flatbed. And I just assumed that was like any other truck. Some had flatbeds and some didn't. Well, here's my little pearl of wisdom, is in the eyes of insurance and everything like that, a flatbed truck is considered a commercial vehicle. Now, with that being said, this is a factory flatbed. I don't think this is the original flatbed, but this is a factory flatbed. And when it was bought new in 1956, they gave it a commercial title. So I knew going in that I was going to have to pay an extra $5 to license plate it for a commercial vehicle, if that. I don't even think it was that. Maybe a couple bucks. That didn't bother me. Nobody cares. But so it has the commercial plates. But when I went to get insurance, before I even put a VIN number in, it said, "What are you insuring?" "Pickup truck." "What do you have?" What kind of configuration you have? And I pushed regular cab. "What kind of bed?" I put flatbed. Immediately, every insurance company straight to commercial. So I had to get commercial insurance for this. That was before I put in the VIN number. And I called and asked, and they said it's because the flatbed. And so I thought that was interesting. And I asked, I was like, "Is that just a California thing, And they said, no, this was, Farmers, Allstate. I called them and they said this was flatbeds are commercial vehicles. So I thought that was interesting. It didn't cost me any more money. I just had to fill out some paperwork that says, I had to fill out a couple things that they just wanted to know, like, even if it's for personal use, I had to put that it's a commercial vehicle, but I'm using it for personal use, and that just a brief description of shit I'd be hauling with it, which, I was like, I don't know, a couple motorcycles, some plywood, just personal use shit. And they said, perfect, no one cares, we just have to write that down. So it wasn't even that big of a deal. It just was different. So there you go. Old whatever Ford, I haven't come up with a name yet for it, okay? Give me a minute. I have to get to know the vehicle. I have to it has to give me its name. I don't just come up with these out of the cuff. They give me the name. The baby is named Baby because it used to break down when I first was, building it back up, however many years ago, and I'd be like, "Come on, baby, get me home." Minnie is M-I-N-N-I-E because she was the smallest car I ever owned. She was Minnie. So peanut, shaped like a peanut. But I haven't named this one yet. So I don't want to just fly off the cuff and give it something weird. But anyway, it's getting dark. Let's install the seat